Thank you, Mr. Chair. Admiral, thank you very much for being here today. I know the region is in a really precarious time and situation, but we do appreciate you taking time out to be with us. In a February speech, you warned the audience of the perils of linear thinking, saying instead that we need to think exponentially in order to develop strategies and technologies that give us an asymmetric advantage over regional threats. And I absolutely 100% agree with you. As chair of the Emerging Threats and Capabilities Subcommittee, I'm very, very frustrated with the oftentimes slow and very, very expensive nature of our defense acquisitions. You've even said this. You said that Lady Gaga was able to use over 300 drones during her Super Bowl halftime show. And why is it that she has that technological advantage and we can't capitalize on that? How important is it that we are able to rapidly develop things like directed energy weapons and swarming micro drones? And more importantly, if we had these technologies today, will we have more and better options in order to manage threats that are posed by North Korea and China?
Yeah, so I think, Senator, that innovation is in general is one of those asymmetric advantages that America enjoys over every adversary. But we're in a place now where our adversaries recognize that, and they're trying to close that innovation gap, and they do it in a number of ways. They send their best and brightest students to American universities, and then they get educated here and they go back home and they carry that knowledge back to them. They also do it illegally. They steal our secrets, they steal our industrial processes, and they shorten their acquisition timelines dramatically. So they can field things at a rate faster than we can. And we're often encumbered, rightly so, by law, regulation, and policy. I think that we should look at trying to figure out how to shorten that process. You know, the law is important, obviously. The regulations are important. Policy is important. But when the three in combination allow us to be overtaken in technological development by those countries that would do us harm, I think we should step back and look at that and ask ourselves, is this the right way forward? I'm pleased with things like the DIUX effort that's been undertaken by the department, the SCO effort, the Special Capabilities Office that resides in OSD to try to go flash to bang quicker, and things like that.
Thank you, and I do agree. I think it's important that we are able to move rapidly, and you were absolutely correct about the regulations and the laws. Great, they were there for a purpose, but we do have to go back and, I think, scrutinize some of those regulations to make sure that we're able to move as rapidly as some of our near-peer competitors, or even those that are not near-peer competitors with off-the-shelf technology. You mentioned ISIS in some of your comments, and in your testimony, of course, active engagement between the United States and our partner countries is very critical to maintaining the stability in that region, not just with those state actors like North Korea, but also with partners, engaging those partners in the fight against ISIS. If you could, can you speak to the importance of engaging some of those partners and how we are moving forward in that fight against ISIS?
Sure. So in the Indo-Asia Pacific, the countries that we work closest with in the ISIS fight are Malaysia, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. And that's us, Australia, and New Zealand that are involved in this effort to work with those countries to help them fight that threat themselves. And the entity that does that for me is SOCPAC, Special Operations Command Pacific. And they are, Major General Brian Fenton and his team are actively engaged in providing advice and assistance to those countries, most principally right now in the Philippines, in the southern Philippines. So I'm encouraged by the work they're doing. I think it's God's work, and I'm pleased with where we are in that fight in the Indo-Asia Pacific.
Thank you, Admiral. Thank you, Mr. Chair.